Aloha. Got a minute? My Bible is open to the book of Daniel, chapter 5. Right here, tucked in the middle of chapter 5, I believe, are two of the most serious, saddest words that you're going to find in the entire book of Daniel. They're right here, tucked away in chapter 5. So let me just remind you again, chapter 5. So King Nebuchadnezzar is dead. Belshazzar now, son, sits on the throne. Belshazzar, so chapter 5 is this huge, luxurious party that Belshazzar throws. And of course, you know the end of the story. The end of the story is he dies. He's dead. Darius takes over Babylon. But the story is that he's throwing this huge party for all the VIPs, all the important, the kings, the queens, all the VIPs. And to make his point, so listen, the wine has been flowing, the party is going to beat the band, and he takes one bold move, and he orders that all the gold vessels that had been captured there in the temple of Jerusalem, the gold vessels, the goblets are brought in, and now they're drinking from the golden vessels that at one time had been in the temple of God in Jerusalem. And all of a sudden, there's this shriek because this unseen hand has written words on a wall. So the king brings Daniel in because the word is out. This Daniel has a reputation of being able to interpret. So Daniel is brought in. Daniel now he's an older man by now. He's probably somewhere around 80 years old. He stands in the midst of all this opulence, of this party that the king is throwing for all of his friends and VIPs. Now, on the wall are these words. But the two words I want to bring to your attention, the two saddest words in all of Daniel, right here, Daniel chapter 5, verse 22. He speaks now, Daniel, peers into the eyes of this king, who's in shock of now witnessing an unseen hand writing words on a wall. And this is what Daniel says to the king, verse 22. But you, his son, Belshazzar, speaking about his son, he's the son of Nebuchadnezzar. But you, his son, Belshazzar, have not humbled your heart, although you knew all this. There's the two words right here. Peering into the face of Belshazzar, Daniel says, you knew. You knew. Here you are in the midst of this party. Here you are full of pride and arrogance. Here you are using the golden goblets of the temple of God from Jerusalem. You knew. It's as if Daniel is looking at the face of King Belshazzar and says, listen, you had a front row seat all along. You knew better than this. So why are you doing this, King Belshazzar? Why? You knew. It's as if Daniel is saying to Belshazzar, he says, listen, you knew that King Nebuchadnezzar had what he had because God gave it to him. You knew that because King Nebuchadnezzar was full of pride and arrogance, God humbled him. You knew God. You knew what he wanted. You knew. You cannot plead ignorance. This is judgment day for you, O king. You knew. And then Daniel stops speaking for just a moment, and there is silence in this banquet hall. And you see, this would have been the perfect moment for King Belshazzar to do exactly what his father had done previously, Nebuchadnezzar. When Nebuchadnezzar humbled himself, his pride, his arrogance, he humbled himself and acknowledged Yahweh as the God of all gods. But Belshazzar didn't. This would have been the perfect time if he could have been the Old Testament, New Testament prodigal son. He said, you know what? I've wandered far from God. I knew better. I knew better. I have wandered far from God, and I'm coming back. But he didn't. Silence. And in the end, Daniel chapter 5, in the end, he loses his life and the kingdom. Hey, listen, my friends, I mean, this is, look, these are the same two words for you and for me today. It's no different. I mean, God looks into your face and your eyes. He's going to, what? You knew. Why? Why? You see, I think at the end of time that Belshazzar and Nebuchadnezzar and Daniel represents two groups at the end of time. Two. So you got Belshazzar. You got, I mean, this is party time. The kings, the queens, all the important people. That's just, life is a party. But in the end, they can't read God's handwriting on the wall. You got the group like Daniel. I mean, Daniel, please. His life wasn't a party. Are you kidding? I mean, the very next chapter, he's going to find himself in a den full of lions. Life was not easy for Daniel. This was not a life of party and leisure and all the rest that goes along with, not at all. But in the end, Daniel could read the handwriting of God on the wall. You see, that's the choices for you and for me. You can be in the group with Belshazzar, can't read the handwriting. You can be the group of Daniel. Life isn't easy. Wasn't for Daniel, but Daniel could read God's handwriting on the wall. Hey, listen, my friends. Listen. So my little encouragement for your heart or for mine today is, listen, dare to be a Daniel. Please, dare to be a Daniel. To where you can read the handwriting of God on the wall of your life. Let's choose to be in the group of Daniel. What do you say? Aloha.